I came to this as somebody who's done over 30 years as a listener. I did 17 years in the Samaritans, which really taught me the power of listening, being alongside somebody. I've found the staff on the ward are fantastic. They are devoted, they're very caring, but they just don't have enough time to spend with patients, and that's something they'd like to do. They've told me that. And you know, if I can support my brothers and sisters, then that's what I want. But part of our culture is quite stiff upper lip. In my experience, the patients put a face on, the visitors put a face on for one another, and they're trying to protect one another. And I think chaplaincy can give them an opportunity for both groups to be able to say, this is how things are for me, this is how I feel, this is what's going through my mind, and share stuff that, you know, they wouldn't want to share with their other half.
So when you hear the word chaplaincy, often people immediately think to church, call the vicar, and all kinds of connotations that they may have with chaplaincy, specifically Christian. But actually, chaplaincy is more than that. Chaplaincy is a multi-faith and belief service, which includes non-religious chaplains as well. So we're here for everybody, regardless of their worldview, but we also have practitioners, chaplains within our team that are of different faiths, beliefs, and non-religious beliefs. So everybody has that support and that like-minded support that they might want and request.
I think part of healing is about feeling accepted and welcomed and part of something. And I think that is compassion. That is a sense of, well, compassion, the root of compassion is suffering with, isn't it? That's the Latin word, suffering and with. And I think chaplains understand that. It's their role. They come from different spiritual traditions, or maybe none, but they understand that compassion. They understand that the heart of healing is compassion and being together in people's suffering.
And it could be quite lonely and isolating when you're in hospital and you don't have that connection. Because meaning, purpose, belonging, being part of something bigger than just yourself is so important. And that's what the chaplaincy can help with.
The benefits are that people know they've been heard. And sometimes someone who is having problems engaging with their treatment may be all the better equipped to do so just because they know someone has listened and they don't feel isolated and alone.
So as nurses, we're very busy out on the wards, and one element that the chaplaincy service can deliver is time for patients. They're extra to your ward team, so they can come and they can spend time with your patients.
They are the kind of bridge or intersection between the community and the hospital. They are working at the hospital, but they're there for community and to make sure everyone feels welcome and to make sure healthcare is equal and accessible to all.
Chaplaincy can be there to help support those patients and their families to be able to build the bridges and to be able to use the correct language to be able to explain what that means from a medical perspective, but also to be able to explain to the clinicians from an Islamic perspective what is important to these patients and their families.
And in the busy acute setting, I think it's really easy to lose sight of kind of identity and self, and as much as the nurses on the ward of course want to give that extra holistic care, practically that's quite challenging, and I found as a nurse being able to ring the chaplaincy team, who are always approachable, always available, and just talk through what your concerns are for that individual, them hearing that and then coming to support.
So it can be quite hard to assess somebody's faith and belief, but that's part of what we have to do. That makes them as a person, and it's part of what the NHS provides as holistic care needs. But I know we tend to avoid, don't we, talking about religion and politics. So to just give you a handy tool that we often used in chaplaincy is called FICA, F-I-C-A. So the F stands around what is people's faith or belief? How do they look at life? The I stands for what is important to them, especially during difficult times. The C stands for community. Do they have a specific spiritual community, religious community, or another network of people that they really derive hope and meaning from? And last but not least, the A for assessment. So use healthcare provider. How can you assess what they need during this time as they stay in hospital? And this is one of those tools that you can use. But obviously, the chaplaincy service is always here for you to help support you through any questions that you may have.
18 months ago now, I unfortunately came off my motorbike and it was on the way to work, so I did arrive at work but in an ambulance. And part of the conversation of the nurses is who are you, what do you do? It was a little bit surprising that some didn't register what a chaplain was. Although I've been at the High Trust a good few years, I thought, well, they must know me, but they had no idea. Now, maybe I was in the wrong clothes, or they were more concerned about my physical being, but it also made me feel that, well, actually, they don't know me. And you wonder then, with patients coming in, we sometimes forget that they are human beings. They are mind, body, soul, and therefore we want to treat all of that, not just the physicality.
By being with people, you don't have to fix them, you don't have to make them all right, you just have to be with them. The importance of being with people in this way as part of a healing journey that can support medical care and is equally important as part of that process of getting well.
But it's so important that we explore things beyond just the clinical aspects of the services that we are providing. And that's where chaplaincy comes in. Most people have the answers themselves, but they really do need somebody to help them through that process.
And it's often emotional elements of either patient care or even nurses and staff, the care of our staff, which is where I've seen some real benefit in the chaplaincy service.
So studies show actually that mental and spiritual support aids recovery. And that's what we're here to do within chaplaincy. You're not just here in the hospital journey as a patient to get better physically, but also be attended spiritually and existentially.
Asking people, talking to them, listening to their journey, what made them who they are, what was their meaning of life, and bringing back all those good memories that they once shared in life brings also that joy above all what they are going through. And again, just that love, showing that you are interested, showing that you are human. Above all, everything that is happening is something that is really pivotal in people's lives, especially at the time of suffering.
So sometimes people have terminal illnesses. They might not go towards recovery, which is of course very sad and a very distressing and difficult time for the patient, but also their loved ones, even for staff members to see that. But we're here to support patients, even for instance in end-of-life care and palliative care. We're here to help them, for instance, with planning their funerals, or when it is the time for a funeral, to conduct a funeral, or potentially a memorial service. And we can therefore help support the person who's got the bad news, the patient, the person behind the patient, as well as their loved ones that might find it hard to cope with what's going on for them.
The big drive for me is it's a privilege what people share with you and the trust they show. I'm 70 years old, I'm a child of the NHS. It's the best institution we've got in this country. And if I can support those incredible nurses, doctors, domestics, whoever's on the wards, if I can support them in any way, as well as supporting my fellow human being, then it's rewarding for me.